Welcome to this week's episode. Today I want to talk about how all or nothing thinking is sabotaging your fat loss progress. And the reason, one of the biggest reasons a lot of us get stuck on our fat loss journey is because we get pulled into this thinking that it's all about motivation and we're not disciplined enough. Whereas actually the thing that's keeping us stuck is throwing ourselves all in and then all out at the same time. So I really want to try and bust that, especially fitting that we've just had a bank holiday here in the UK. So we've had a big weekend. You may have feel like you've thrown your progress off track by eating and drinking too much over the weekend. And now you're thinking, how do I get myself back on track? I've ruined it all. So I just want to give a few pointers into how we can actually shift our mindset with that. So if you've ever thought, I've blown it, or, oh, well, I've had a really big lunch, I might as well have a takeaway now tonight, or, oh, well, I haven't worked out for 3 days, I'm going to start on Monday. That is an all or nothing thinking. And actually what we really want to lean into is the imperfect moments. Having a big lunch doesn't mean you've ruined your progress. Missing workouts because you've been really busy or you've been sick is not a failure. It's just the way that we need a plan. And we need to be able to adjust accordingly to pull ourselves back on track. So instead of thinking that you blew it, I really want you to change that mindset shift and start thinking, what's the next best action I can take? Okay, so you've had a big lunch. What's the next best action you can take in order to retain your progress by not having a takeaway for dinner, for example? And just one of the reasons why this happens is because our brains are in the this or that mindset of good or bad. We're either on track or we're off track, or we're either succeeding or we're failing. And what we really want to think about is that bit in the middle, that messy bit in the middle that we don't quite like going near because it feels uncomfortable. That is where the progress and fat loss success happens. In that bit in the middle, not in the extremes, but the messy bit in the middle that is kind of how we bounce back after we've had a really heavy weekend. So let me turn this into an example for you. I've just been away on an Indian wedding. We traveled 5.5 hours there, 5.5 hours back. I ate and drank way too much over the weekend, but I had a really good time. My cup is full. I got to spend some time with some really lovely people. It was a wedding, so it was all happy and joyful. That I could completely now throw the whole week, the whole month off track because I've eaten too much. I had way too much wine. I had a double pudding on the wedding breakfast. So scenario A is I go, oh, bugger it, I'm just going to throw the towel in. Scenario B is I've started today. I've planned my exercise for the week. I'm walking around with my water bottle basically attached to my hip. I'm planning when I can go out for a walk. And it's those actions that are actually going to make me succeed in my fat loss journey, even though they're not all perfect, right? I had a good weekend. I've done too much. I'm now thinking, what is my next best action to get me back into the normal lane? So I've had my fun. I've been off track for the weekend. Shifting slowly back to the normal lane is where I'm going to succeed. So if you've had a similar scenario, bank holiday weekend, or you've had a birthday, or you've been on holiday, what I really want you to think about is how to shift back to normal. And normal isn't perfect, right? It's about being consistent. So a couple of tips for you, little practical framework, three really simple steps next time you feel like you're leaning out of that channel and how to pull yourself back. Step number one is I really want you to notice these triggers. So if you're ever thinking to yourself, I've blown it, or oh, I had a massive lunch, I might as well have a takeaway, or oh, I know I'm going to have a huge weekend at this wedding, so I might as well write the week off. Right, next time you have that thought or you feel yourself leaning into that, acknowledge it. That's step number one. Acknowledge that your brain is initiating that in you, and I want you to acknowledge that as a trigger. So that's step number one. Step number two is interrupting that thought process. So you're acknowledged, it's happened, your brain's gone, oh God, I've blown it. I want you to then interrupt that by questioning, have you actually ruined your progress? Have you actually come off track? Or have you just leaned into one imperfect moment? So for me, for the weekend, it was one imperfect weekend. That doesn't ruin the 8 weekends prior and the 8 weeks of progress prior to this one weekend. Okay, so just want you to think about, interrupt that thought. Have you actually ruined your progress, or is it just an imperfect moment? Then step number 3 is then how you can calmly recover that progress. Okay, so thinking about what can you do to get yourself back to normal? Drinking water. How much protein are you eating? Go back to your normal breakfast, your normal dinners. Have you planned your meals? Have you planned your workouts? What does that step look like to bring you back? What is that next imperfect decision to get you back to normal? Okay, so those are the 3 steps. Acknowledge it, acknowledge that trigger. 2, interrupt it. Is it actually ruining your progress or not? That is going to convert your brain to stop thinking in that all or nothing. Number 3, what can you do? What is that next best action to get you back in the normal lane? So those are the 3 steps I just want you to think about going forward next time that you feel like you're going off track, because that all or nothing is going to sabotage you. We need to lean into the imperfect moments and remember that fat loss progress is made in our recovery. How quickly do we bounce back from that imperfect moment? And note that those imperfect moments are needed. We aren't robots. We are allowed to spend time with our friends and our family and go on weddings, hens, birthdays. We're allowed to do all of those things. It's how do we fit them into our plan, and how do we bounce back? So acknowledge it, interrupt it. What's your next best action? Those are the 3 things I want you to take away from this. And I hope that's useful, guys, and take that into the next weekend or the week that you are feeling like you're falling off track. And I'll catch you very soon.